Hi guys, so I'm just going to cover a few tips that a lot of my floor managers often ask for. It's a managerial training. I do have my masterclass included in my modules that we will be getting online, which is so exciting. We'll be putting a 12 module curriculum together online. We've already finished the written content. We've just got to get it online, so it's so exciting. But just going to make this video just so you can get a taster of what we really cover in our modules. But this is generally just for managers, those managers that are managing the floor, especially at events, and sort of what we look at in terms of being a manager and what we expect. So I just want to get started and talk about what makes a manager a manager. So it's so important in any industry to find people with leadership qualities who have authenticity. They have to have some kind of experience, take on responsibilities, and the ability to communicate those responsibilities and get them across, to other students, and then of course teamwork and actually, building the team, making the team understand why you are a leader, how you lead in this space and take initiative. So I'm talking about specifically in this video about dealing with a team of waiters and how you would go onto the floor and actually manage staff under you. So just to get you started, we're going to go through some understanding of human behavior and then how to actually put this into practice. So it is so important for one to understand human behavior. Human behavior skills are the skills we use when we deal with diverse people in different situations. So we learn these skills from an early age. Enhancing our service delivery means that we enhance our human behavior skills. When we enhance our understanding of different human behavior, we also enhance our appreciation of different cultures. Human behavior may vary according to the environment, country, location that you are in. So it's important to understand different human behavior, and our upbringing and education, as well as experience, form our norms. In other words, we develop a behavioral skill throughout our life, collecting ideas and beliefs that we believe to be normal. This allows us to perceive or create a perception of what we do or don't see. So our norms are what, um, you know, help us find a belief in, and that belief is what we then, form a norm or understanding of people. So what I'm trying to get at is to use people's strengths and weaknesses to a team advantage. So you've really got to understand your team. What are their strengths and weaknesses? Um, who loves front of house? Who loves kitchen? Who loves plating? Who loves being the center of attention and the hostess? You're only as strong as your weakest player. So this is what I try and enforce down in our teams, that if we have a manager on the floor, that manager understands every team member's ability to do something in terms of service. So there are 6 essential skills for leadership, and I will name the few below. And one would be managing alignment, being an interpreter, learning to innovate, thinking ahead, leveraging your networks, and making those decisions. So what I try and encourage with our team managers is that even if I'm not around, that they know how to make a decision on the spot. They problem solve on the spot. If the team doesn't know how to do something, they are the ones who take the lead and actually manage that team if there is, a drama, or if they need to deal with a problem or conflict of interest. So I'm just going to cover here a few leadership styles, one being cohesive, the other authoritative, affiliative, democratic, uh, coaching, and then pace setting. So I'm going to break down these leadership styles in this video, and then we will continue to actually show you how to use these leadership styles in different situations. Okay, so I just want to go through the different styles of leadership and give you a better understanding of the leadership styles and then how we can apply them in certain situations. So, cohesive. A cohesive leader demands immediate compliance from his followers. Basically, he or she will say, do what I tell you. Authoritative is a leader who mobilizes people towards a vision, and they would say something like, come with me, do this with me. Affiliative is a leader who creates harmony and builds emotional bonds. People always come first with affiliative leaders, and the slogan of the leadership is always put the people first. Then we get democratic, and democratic is a leader who always asks, what do you think? It can be quite a successful way of leading in terms of being democratic, always asking your audience what they think, and then they give you ideas going forward. Pace setting, a pace setting leader sets high standards for performance. We usually hear he says, do as I do now. So he'll set the pace and the others will follow. And then lastly, there's the coaching leadership, which is a coaching leader develops people for the future, and he usually encourages his followers by saying, try this style works, while in many situations, but is most effective when people on the receiving end are up for it. So these are the different styles of leadership, and it's important for managers to understand how to put these into practice so that their teams, adjust well. They respond to the leader, and it might even require that you use different styles together instead of one style being used by itself. So those are the different leadership styles. I will paste up a PDF so that you can see and read on more about that. In our masterclass, we'll go into depth about that, but just the way in which one would use them. So what I'm trying to get at here is how to actually use your leadership in an events environment, and what is expected of leaders. So you'll see that we go into what structures are in place for the leader. What are your checklists? What is being relayed down to the teams? How are we going to run the floor for that evening? So an authoritative leader might be someone who is overly aggressive and says do that and doesn't get involved himself. And another leader might say, come with me, we're going to make this work, we're going to come up with a solution together, the floor is going to be run well together. And then democratic leaders might say, oh, well, what do you think we should do in this conflict situation? Here's the menu, this is the program, how should we approach it? So generally speaking, what I do with our service staff is that I will brief our team on the menu, how it's going to run, the order of events, what is expected, when is dinner expected, when is the harvest table expected, how many speeches, and then reiterate that communication over to the chef. So this is just a short breakdown of how we operate and use different leadership styles depending on our different teams. But I wouldn't say that one should use one form of leadership style all the time. I would combine leadership styles so that the rest of the team actually understand you, they want to work with you. If they are definitely not listening, then to be more authoritative. But authoritative can be aggressive, and one needs to watch when you use your authority. Coaching is a great way to lead your team into an event, offering them the option of maybe try this style works well in many situations, but is most effective when people on the receiving end are up for it. In other words, the coaching style works best with employees who would like to improve their performance. So it all depends on the employee and who you're working with in your team. And then I would like to also cover, certain structures. In our masterclass, we will actually have structures available for clients to see how to use them, how to put them in place. But basically, what I encourage leaders to do is to create a structural system so that there's a checklist, so that the manager can go, yes, we've done this. Yes, we've lit the candles. Yes, we've checked all the table settings. Yes, we've checked who's having what meal. Just so that nothing is left off, and it creates a formality to the operations of the business itself. So that is a big one, and something that I will cover in my masterclass going forward. And then lastly, what I do want to touch on is how managers have to deal with conflict resolution and conflict management. It is so important to have managers in a role where they know how to communicate to the guest and actually say to the guest, I'm sorry if you didn't enjoy your steak. How can we resolute it, etc., etc. So, in the masterclass, it does cover how we actually deal with conflict management. But managers certainly need to know how to deal with that before their team does. So, how does it work in terms of a complaint structure in itself? And that will definitely be covered in my masterclass. So, keep your eyes open for that, and further training on the managerial training. However, my course is a 9 to 12 module course with assignments, and it really does go into depth and really does give you a masterclass in the expectations, and managerial training. But this is just to touch on certain aspects of being a manager. So I hope today in this video I touched on it briefly, but what different leaders mean and how you can become better in your space. And I just wanted to open the platform to chat about it as well.